Before we get started with the video, I just wanted to let you know the lawsuit seems to be happening. Kinda. It's a little weird because it's filed in small claims court. It says small claims indebtedness over $5,000, which that is a lot, but I don't know if you can sue for defamation in small claims court. I mean, I guess maybe you can. Now, Google says a couple things. It says, no, you generally cannot sue for defamation in Oklahoma in small claims court because Oklahoma law prohibits it. However, if you click on Oklahoma law prohibits it, it says, yes, you can sue for defamation, slander, or libel in Oklahoma small claims court if the monetary damages you are seeking do not exceed the court's limit of $10,000. And it's clearly not recommended to sue for defamation in small claims court because of how complex the cases are. And you really kind of need a lawyer for that. And small claims court tends to try to mediate things rather than get lawyers involved and stuff. But apparently you can sue for defamation in small claims court in Oklahoma. And just FYI, defamation is the sort of umbrella term for saying something that's untrue about somebody. And then when you break it down, slander is when you do it verbally, and libel is when you do it in writing. Now, it doesn't say slander or defamation anywhere on this lawsuit, but Tammie did highlight in her Amberlynn Reed, aka a slanderous snake video, the compensation for slander says emotional distress or mental anguish resulting from false claims and the resulting consequences. So, while I think small claims court is a little weird for a slander case, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but it might be kind of smart because A, it's a lot cheaper to go through small claims because relatively speaking, it costs basically nothing compared to like an actual full-blown court case. And since it's hard to prove that you've suffered mental anguish due to slanderous accusations or whatever, I think the fact that she's not asking for $1 million or asking for anything crazy can work in her favor as well. So I don't know. While I still think it's a long shot, I think it's a lot safer to do it in small claims, and the risk is far less as far as the money that Tammie's going to have to pay just to have the lawsuit in the first place. Now, this is real. This is from the Oklahoma State Courts Network. This is the official website where you can see official court documents or court filings. $5,000 or more is a lot. So this might actually lead to some consequences for Amber. That would be interesting. I don't know that she's ever had consequences. The closest thing she's ever had was, having to cry and play the victim, but she loves that. That's like sending a kid to his room when the PlayStation's in his room. That's not a consequence. So this may be the first time she's had to deal with real actual consequences for her actions. But we'll see how it plays out. I just wanted to let you know it's happening. So now on to the rest of the video. Hello, my friends. So Amberlynn might be taking a break from making videos and going live, but she is still staying busy. If you haven't heard, somebody is striking channels, but they're not copyright strikes. They're privacy policy complaints, basically. The problem is we don't know whose privacy was supposedly violated. And the person that's making the privacy complaints has made at least a couple of sock accounts. They've admitted to one, and they're making lots of comments, but none that would really give us an idea of whose privacy they're so concerned about. Another thing that's happening is Mama Lynn, from what we can tell, is also jumping into the fray and has decided not only to defend Amber and Emily, but also her position as Amber's enabler. So, let's just get into what's going on around Girl World. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not gonna lie. So let's go on to the privacy policy complaints, because the comments surrounding all of this have been bonkers. So we'll start with this. Abigail received a privacy violation and had a video removed. And we know Amber has gotten videos taken down and gotten copyright strikes and things like that. But this time, YouTube said they received a privacy complaint regarding this content. And it was the complete timeline of every Amberlynn relationship. The main problem with all this is we don't know whose privacy has been violated. Nobody will say. YouTube won't say. The person making all the comments we're going to read in just a minute won't say. It's all very vague. It's just privacy violations, but we don't know whose. Now, Abigail is not the only one to receive privacy complaints. Studio Deets actually just got a bunch, and they keep coming in. So the original privacy strike had a timestamp of the whole video from like 1 minute all the way to the end of the video. So it was clear whoever was making the violation report just wanted the video taken down. When normally, if you were actually concerned about somebody's privacy, you would find the places where that person is in the video and editing them out would be enough. But that was not what this person wanted. They wanted the entire video taken down. And Studio Deets made a post just saying that these timestamps are dumb. They're clearly just wanting the videos taken down. And then she started getting more with more specific timestamps. And the specific timestamps didn't help either, because according to Studio Deets, the people in each of the timestamps were all different. It wasn't like the same person in each timestamp, so you could see whose privacy had been violated. The timestamps were just random as far as who's in the shot. And that's the biggest problem with all of this, is the person commenting, the person we're going to talk about here in just a second, is really vague about saying their privacy, their family, these people, but never explaining who it is. Even Studio Deets has no idea whose privacy is supposedly being violated. And the person making the complaints won't say. So it's just a little fishy. Now, I will show you exactly why we think this is Amber. I mean, if it isn't obvious already, you know, Amber takes a break from YouTube, and then a day or two later, all of a sudden, all these strikes start happening when she's got all this free time. Seems pretty obvious. But I'm going to show you something that makes it even more obvious. So from one of the posts, somebody made a comment that says, "I have my broom, let's ride." Studio Deets replied, and this normal difference, this is the person who is crashing out over these privacy policy violations, apparently. And we're going to hear a lot from them in just a minute. But this is kind of where my Amber theory was solidified. It says, "I can see you reply to others, but you still haven't addressed my request for those receipts." And basically, receipts just mean the timestamps and screenshots and stuff that Studio Deets has proving that she got the clips from Amber's videos. But here is our first clue that this is likely Amber. Don't be like your obsession and lie about having them. One telltale sign from an Amber Reed sock account is they will usually be self-deprecating. They'll say something like, "I hate Amber, but," or they'll say, "I know Amber's a liar, but." It's seemingly to try to throw you off her scent, to try to make you think that it can't be her if she's saying that Amber's a liar. So I think that's what's happening here when it says, "and lie about having them." But before that, it says, "like your obsession." Does that sound like anybody you know?
Literally obsessed with me. Literally obsessed with me. There's so many of you. Who's Ando? Someone who is obsessed with me.
Black Dynamite, you're obsessed with me.
Jordy, like, secretly has a thing for my legs, and that's fine. But like the way that he scopes them out, talk about obsession.
So as soon as I read "don't be like your obsession," I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely Amber. But you'll see kind of how unhinged this whole thing is once you start seeing the comments. So let's look at those. Okay, so this normal difference has been commenting on a bunch of Studio Deets videos and channel posts. Now, there are some people that think these comments are Emily. Some people think it might be Alexis. And there could be some truth to that, because the way they talk in some of these, it could be any or all three of them. But we do know there are several sock accounts, and we'll get to that in a minute. This says, I'd advise you to think twice before using the names of people who have never been involved in this trash, regardless of what timestamp evidence you think you have. And by evidence, they mean the publicly available videos where Studio Deets got the clips. And that's the crazy part about this. I don't think Studio Deets ever used any footage that wasn't already publicly available. So I don't know why Studio Deets would be held responsible for privacy violations when she's not the one that actually put up those clips. And like I said earlier, I am not a lawyer, and I'm not claiming to understand the ins and outs of privacy law or copyright law or anything like that. So I could be missing something, but I just don't think somebody can be held responsible for using already publicly available footage in their own channel when it comes to privacy. Because there's no way for everybody to check every video to make sure that every person in every video has agreed to be in that video. That just doesn't make sense. Now, this is where we can safely say it's a sock account. This person says joined 13 hours ago, meaning normal difference, the account was created 13 hours ago. And normal difference says, yep, almost like we made the account for this purpose. So they are admitting they created this account just to do this. So it is a sock account. Whose sock account? We don't know yet. But I do think Emily and Amber are all working together. I'm not sure who's doing what, though. So Emily posted this on her Instagram yesterday, and it was during the day. So this might be her picture. I don't think it is, but even if it is, it's not from last night. Now, she's basically saying if you are into this sort of thing, you might see this tonight, which could be her trying to sort of prove or pretend like she's in Wisconsin when she's actually sitting at the computer in Amber's apartment, typing away under several sock accounts with Amber. Some people were thinking that maybe Emily came to visit her in Oklahoma, and immediately people were like, well, she posted a picture of the Northern Lights and you couldn't have seen those from Oklahoma, but this was posted before you would have been able to see the Northern Lights. So just food for thought. So Normal Difference was asked repeatedly, did you report Amber? Because that is where the privacy violation would be. Amber is the one that originally posted these clips and these videos, but when asked, Normal Difference really would not give a straight answer. It says, I don't know how many times this has to be repeated to you all. I'm starting to think the IQ of her viewership matches hers. We'll report anyone we see violating their privacy, period. It doesn't matter if it's Amber or a reactor. If you share information about people who never put themselves out there, you're at fault. And if you defend those doing it, you're just as awful. Now, here's the thing. That's not true. If Amber put a video out there with whoever it ends up being, then at that point, it is fair game. It's on Amber, because Amber is the one that put that video out there. There's no way on earth Studio Deets would know that whoever it was did not want to be in those videos. That was on Amber. The original video came from Amber. So it just should not fall on Studio Deets to check every video. That would be like if I took a clip of the evening news somewhere, and there's somebody in the background that didn't realize they were on TV. And then they see my channel where I used a clip from the evening news, and they said, you're violating my privacy by posting that. I'm not the one who filmed it. I'm not the one who posted it to the internet. I'm just reporting on the video after it's been posted. I feel like in that instance, the responsibility would be on the news station for being the ones to film it and originally post it. This just says, so did you report Amber's channel or not? It's not really a hard question for a high IQ individual such as yourself. I like Ed. And then they say, what do you think, baby girl? Which gives some Alexis vibes. I'm not gonna lie. So obviously this privacy complaint issue is an ongoing thing, and there are going to be updates probably every day. But once we get some substantial information or once YouTube responds, I'll let you know. But yeah, the whole thing is very fishy and it just kind of sucks, especially since YouTube's privacy policy is just so wishy-washy and vague, you know? So now we're going to look at some comments by who we assume is Mama Lynn. She was basically commenting on Tammie's last video, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this one says, "You're not an auntie. You never saved those children from foster care, and now you have a daughter who disowned you. Oh yeah." Oh yeah. I'm not sure what the oh yeah is for, but your haters' pride and joy, which I assume what that's saying is you are beloved in Girl World, which is generally true. For the most part, people are Team Tammie. And some people, it's just because it's a lesser of two evils. We just don't know Tammie well enough to know whether she's pride and joy material yet, you know? But it says, your haters' pride and joy, good for you. A notch, not correct notch, but a notch on your belt or bedpost, whatever. You ever read their post? It's a bunch of schoolgirls from the valley acting like they're all that and then some. LOL. Have fun, but I don't know how you're going to exist the next month. They will be trashing you soon enough. Haha, welcome to Girls World. And Girl World is a fickle mistress, that is for sure. But the only time Girl World turns on somebody is if we find out new information about them, right? If we all of a sudden find out Tammie is worse than Amber, or we found out why she's estranged from her daughter and it turns out that Tammie was the reason or whatever, yeah, I could turn that way, but they're not going to turn on her for no reason, generally speaking. And so somebody responds to that and says, Christine, which is Mama Lynn, you're giving yourself away. The way you're talking says it's you. Get your daughter help. You failed all of your kids and continue to do so. Pathetic. That's not a mother. And I have said all along that Mama Lynn is an enabler. And there were moments along the way that I was like, Mama Lynn's fine, except she's an enabler. But I will say it's hard not to be when Amber is the one in question, because you can't really tell Amber no without feeling the wrath of Amber. You know what I mean? So another comment on Tammie's video, it says, wow, you cannot stoop so low, can you, auntie? You cannot stoop so low, can you, auntie? You having a choreographer do your stuff? I hardly doubt you know all this. Shame on you with this mother and daughter healing and you trying to ruin Mama Lynn. So I'm not sure what all of this is about, but still, go heal with your own daughter instead of looking for attention. It will die off, chick, so you better move your ass. A lot of that was kind of word salad. I'm not sure what the choreographer was about, or you cannot stoop so low, can you? I think what she meant to say was, I didn't know you could stoop so low. I don't know. But anyway, it's clearly Mama Lynn. And this says, shut the F up, Doreen. That's the screen name. Amber won't see 40 and you're enabling it. Yeah. And this is where it becomes even more obvious that it's Mama Lynn. This person says, at this point, Mama Lynn is just Amber's enabler. 100%, absolutely. And then the response from Doreen is, are you a mother, bitch? I mean, I don't think you have to be a mother to understand that you're enabling Amberlynn. You're taking her to Brahms all the time. You're taking her out to eat all the time. And you're defending her, and you're defending her feeder. So Tammie released a short showing a text message between Tammie and Mama Lynn. Now, Tammie says, I don't owe you anything, including this response or an explanation. And Mama Lynn responds by saying, please leave Emily alone. You should have better things to do with your time. Tammie time. And so Tammie responds, are you now sticking up for your daughter's feeder? Which is true. Amber admitted that. Wow, you are truly a piece of work. And Mama Lynn responds, no, I am not, but I don't believe in stirring the pot. And Tammie says, unlike you, I've fought for your daughter's well-being for decades, etc. But think about what Mama Lynn is saying there. I don't want to stir the pot. Well, first of all, you might say, well, maybe this was a long time ago. When was this text exchange exactly? Tammie says, Friday, August 8th. When was the video that Amber made, the live stream, where Amber said, we've been together this whole time. I've told my mom how bad this relationship was. She knows how horrible Emily is and all that. That was August 2nd. So this text where Mama Lynn says, I don't believe in stirring the pot, was after Amber's live saying that she has told her mom everything all this time.
My mom wanted me to leave Tammie, just constantly telling me, break up with her. Like, still, like, literally from yesterday. Just leave her, just leave her. Like, my mom knows everything.
So either Amber lied, which is likely, and didn't tell her mom how horrible things were, or what Mama Lynn is saying is, yeah, my daughter told me that there was abuse and it was a horrible relationship and it was dangerous, but I don't want to stir the pot. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to rock the boat. Well, I made a comment on that video and I stand by it. It says, when it comes to feeders, if you don't want to stir the pot, you'll be picking the coffin. And that's the bottom line. Mama Lynn is choosing to stay out of it, choosing to let her daughter be in danger because she doesn't want to stir the pot. Or she didn't know how bad things were and doesn't understand how horrible Emily was because Amber never told her. But that doesn't even track because Tammie tried to explain everything to Mama Lynn and to Amber, and it didn't matter. So, Mama Lynn is out here defending Emily and defending her position as Amber's enabler. So, I think Amber probably went crying to her mom about how horrible Girl World is and everybody's so mean to me for no reason. All I do is mind my own business and be really nice to everybody because I'm an empath and they're all mean to me just because I'm big. That's it. And I'm assuming her mom just believes her and just goes, well, that's not very nice. And then comes out to do this. So I'm not sure where this is going to go. With the Studio Deets stuff, I'm going to keep up with that because I just don't understand the end game there. Again, most of the videos that people use, most of the clips people use come from Amber's channel. So anyway, I just thought I would keep you up to date with what's going on in Girl World because, like I said, even though Amber is taking a break from making videos, she is not taking a break from the internet or playing the victim. So anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.